Before we start, let me explain the function of the List of User Accounts form. This form shows all the records from the table users and roles. It could retrieve all the records from the database. It also has a search function to find specific records, even if you entered a few letters. It has a list view control to display the retrieved records. And lastly, the buttons Edit, Delete for the data manipulation, Print Preview, and Print selected for producing hard copy of the records. Without further ado, let's get started. First, we need to add a new form. To add a form, click on the Project menu, select the Add Windows form, and click the Add button. Next, using the toolbox, draw a label, a text box, 5 buttons, and a list view shown on your screen. Next, set the properties of each object. Start with the button 1. Set the name to btn search. Set the text to amp search. Button 2. Set the name to btn edit. Set the text to amp edit. Button 3. Set the name to btn delete. Set the text to amp delete. Button 4. Set the name to btn print all. Set the text to amp print all. Button 5. Set the name to btn print selected. Set the text to pamp print selected. Form 2. Set the name to farm list of user accounts. Start position to center screen. Text to list of user accounts. Label 1. Set the text to search by username. Text box 1. Name is txt search. List view 1. Name is lvw list of user accounts. Full row select as true. Grid lines to true. View as details. Before setting up the columns, please be guided that the arrangement of columns in the database table will be used and should be followed in designing the list view. Now, look at our database table. Users table and roles table are related or connected to each other. This will be the output once you relate the two tables. The list view control design should be looked like this. In the columns property, click the ellipsis. A column header collection editor window will appear. Click the Add button. Change the text property to ID. Click the Add button again to create the second column in the list view. Change the text property to username. Set the width to 200 or more. Click the Add button. Change the text property to password. Set the width to 200 or more. Click the Add button. Change the text property to role ID. Set the width to 100 or more. Click the Add button. Change the text property to role. Set the width to 200 or more. Click the Add button. Change the text property to date created. Set the text align to center. Set the width to 200 or more. click the Add button. Change the text property to Date Modified. Set the text align to center. Set the width to 200 or more. Lastly, click the OK button. That's it. The form should look like on your screen. Our form should look like this. Let's put source code to make the form functional. First, let's make a function or method named Load User Accounts with a parameter query. It is a best practice to use try-catch block to handle errors occurred when running the program or the system. In line number 12, it opens the connection to our database. In line number 13, this opens the table with a query. But this time we don't know yet exactly the request. Line number 14, initiate the list view. The dot clear meaning clears all the data inside the list view. The dot enabled equals false, meaning the list view is not clickable or usable this time since there is no record yet. In line 17, it tests if there are records in the database based on the query. If so, then the list view will be enabled or usable or clickable. Then using while loop, it collects each record from the table and populates the list view. In line 20, there is an instantiate of list view item. The variable Li will hold the index, or the ID of the record, as shown in line 21. Line 22 to 27 will set the subitems or the second column to last column in the table. See to it those red-colored texts are the same as the column names in the table. Line 28, it moves to the next record each time a record has been placed to the list view and return or loop to the line 19. Line 31 prepares the buttons. In line 38, this is the catch part. Each time the code encounters an error, the catch part will fire and handle the error properly. The encountered error will be shown using the message box. And the finally closes the connection. Next, find the button search in the object browser and set the event click. Write the following codes. This code is the relationship between roles and users table, and they will become one entity. The records will be dependent on what is about to search for. The percentage sign denotes wildcard, meaning it could search records using username, even if a few letters. Next, faram list of user accounts _ load. Write the same query without the wildcard. Let's designate the list of user accounts form as the startup form. To do so, navigate to the Project menu, access Project Properties, and on the Application tab, locate the Startup Form setting. Then, select the desired form to set as the startup form. That's it. Let's test the program. Catch you in the next video where we'll be editing a user account.